Hey, welcome back. We're now at part 4, goddamn finger, of this week's new comics, bitches! So let's get on with it. We are now into our books of the week area. We're gonna start with our runner-up here. Because I basically, unless it's just been kind of a shitty week, I'll do a top 3 each week, and usually with one runner up. And this is the runner up, and that is the Punisher number 9. I love what Greg Rucka is doing on this series. Just the whole kind of the kind of team up between Rachel Cole and with Frank Castle. It's just really impressive stuff. And even though Marco Cicchetto is not doing the art for this particular issue, it's Mirko Kolak. It's still pretty good, and there's some really interesting. I like the use of what's his face. I like the use of Poulsen's tech here, the shield tech that he uses basically to, this combustion nullification field, so that no gunfire can actually, because Frank's about to blow his head off, and it nothing can combust. So, but essentially, there's just some really solid storytelling going on here, some kind of interesting weaponry, and of course this is ultimately a lead-in to the whole crossover event between Avenging Spider-Man, Punisher, and Daredevil, and that's the Omega effect. And basically, the Omega drive that Daredevil has in his possession, that whole thing that's on the Fantastic Four patch. And we've got basically what we have here is the framework of what I think is the most interesting thing here is this kind of very matter-of-fact discussion. My favorite part of this whole issue is this discussion at the end, because this actually has more than one line of dialogue by Frank Castle in this issue. So that's interesting to me. But what we ultimately have here is this really telling exchange between Frank and Rachel at the end. And it's just, it's very, 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 very Frank Castle-esque. I mean, if Frank Castle was indeed a real person, this is how I see him being. So, easy 4 out of 5, edging closer to 5 with Punisher number 9. Just terrific stuff. Greg Rucka is just doing such a terrific job. Okay, so moving along, we've got Batman and Robin number 7. This is becoming one of those books that pretty much every week that it's been coming out, with at least the last couple issues, it's been just right spot on. And we basically have nobody. We have Morgan Ducard basically about to kill Damian, and no, Bruce is not gonna let that happen. Just ain't gonna let it happen. And there was one line that did kind of throw me, which Batman has here once he finally arrives to where this is all going down. And he says, you try to murder my son and expect to live. And there's a lot of stuff that is, it's like I said, this whole comic so far has been about fathers and sons. And we've got Henri Ducard and his son Morgan, and we've got Bruce Wayne and Damian Wayne. And the difference is, how one of them is trying to be so similar to the father, and one of them is just really kind of towing the line between these two, between the two the methodology of these two people. That Damien, while he wants to be like his father, he also has been trained by the League of Assassins, and he just knows the score sometimes, and that's, and that could be an incredible burden for someone who is ultimately a child. While he's very smart, and he's brutal, and is just very calculating, he doesn't fully understand, I think, what he's getting into. And it's just, there's just some tremendous moments in this whole issue, but ultimately it's the final moment that really sews this issue shut. And just, it's one of those things that once it happens, you can maybe never go back to. You can maybe never come back from. And it's just, I mean, for one thing, Patrick Gleason's art in this issue is just phenomenal. I mean, this super duper melee fight between, this all-out brawl between Batman and Morgan is just phenomenal. And the final, like I said, this final moment is such a, I mean, you just, like, your eyes bug out of your skull. It's just that, wow, that just fucking happened. And it's moments like this that make comics like this great. And just makes comics great, period. And I am so looking forward to the next issue of this. This is a very solid 5 out of 5. Just tremendous issue. Another great kind of Bat Family offering as far as what's been what's been really good as far as the Batman titles are concerned have been Batman and Robin. The other ones, Batgirl, Batwoman, Batwing, I like them all. They're all really good. I actually tended to like Batwing more than I've liked either the other two comics in their consistency, but ultimately Batman is the best, and Batman and Robin coming in, in the second place. Anyway, so we have here another book of the week, and that is Fantastic Four number 604. This has been a tremendous ride, just these past 4 issues of Fantastic Four. I mean, just, absolutely terrific. And with the appearance of the future Franklin and Valeria, Steve Epting doing art in this issue, Jonathan Hickman writing the living hell out of it. This is, second week in a row that one of my picks of the week has gone to Hickman. But his stuff on Fantastic Four, it works so much better than what he's done in the Ultimates universe, because these are science-minded superheroes, whereas the Ultimates are not. And I think that is really where the biggest disconnect is, because Hickman he's a high concept guy, and to go so high concept with a team of people like the Ultimates, it doesn't work nearly as well. But this is a nearly perfect issue. Just, I mean, a lot of emotion, a lot of heart, and some major, like, oh my fucking god, is that awesome moments. It's just, there's crazy awesome stuff going on in this whole issue. It's beautifully drawn, expertly written, wonderfully paced, and just, like, it has a real emotional connect here. And all of those things together, they make a pretty a pretty close to perfect comic book. So again, an easy 5 out of 5 to Fantastic Four number 604. But ultimately, book of the week has to go. Even no, if it wasn't book of the week, I would let you know. But this is definitely book of the week, and that is the return of Brian K. Vaughan with artist Fiona Staples with Saga number 1. As it's been described, it is kind of a, it's, as they say, it's, Star Wars meets Romeo and Juliet. What we have going on here, just from the very beginning, from the very first, from the very first, like, 3 pages, with these two characters, their 2 main characters, Marco and Alana, from these 2 different races. It's very, even though they're aliens, it's very human. In the sense that, okay, we know, it's very emotional. We know exactly what's going on. And this is definitely a book that is not shy about anything. And the basically just everything going on here, from the from who these 2 people are. One of them, the character, the horned character of Marco being, kind of a conscientious objector, and Alana being a soldier, and that they're fighting in this kind of, this, in this intergalactic, these 2, Landfall, which is this planet, and we have Wreath, which is its moon, and where, the mother is from Landfall, the father is from Wreath, and they have their own, kind of stuff going on, and these robot sex, alien birth, this, hunting, these different mythologies, wedding traditions, so on and so forth. This tale being told from the point of view, and just the way that Vaughn writes everything. It's all... I have yet to read an original series by Brian K. Vaughan that doesn't completely pull you in its very first issue. It doesn't, there's nothing ever that I've read by him that says, you know what, this is... you might want to come along for the ride on this. This is kind of, it's kind of interesting, whatever. No, Brian K. Vaughan doesn't do that. He does, you are going to read this comic until it's done. And you are going to pretty much love every second of it. I mean, he did that with Runaways. He did that most especially with Y the Last Man. He did it with Ex Machina extraordinarily well, and he's doing it here again with Saga. I mean, this is again a 5+ out of 5. This is such an awesome book, and what's great about it is that literally anybody can come in off the street if they're able to find a copy of it, start and read it from the beginning. They don't have to know anything beforehand. They don't have to know who the characters are. This is one of those. It's another one of those comic books. If you have a friend that doesn't read comic books, get them to read it. I gave this to my wife, and I said, read this. She hasn't yet, but when she does, I'm sure she'll love it as much as I do. So that's it for this week. So yeah, I'm starting work again tomorrow, so we'll see how that goes. But anyway, this is the Shadow Gallery. I'm James Donnelly at Donnelly92274 on Twitter. I'm here on Facebook, or I'm James Donnelly at Facebook. Of course, I'm here on YouTube. Tumblr account, the Shadow Gallery Comics.tumblr.com. Now that my hand is finally kind of repairing itself, maybe we'll get some stuff out there to blog, so we'll see you next time. Take it easy.